See you. Thanks for being here. Okay, so starting up, we're doing meeting with you guys in the media before we even had working with the guys. A little bit different this summer. We do see them through summer workouts this year. So 105 guys here today. First thing I'd like to talk about that is in general, we actually have, in my opinion, some significant quality parts of our program aren't here with the 105 rule. We had 120 plus kids here all summer, pushing 130 working out. Some of those guys are coming into year 2, maybe some year 3. They're great practice players, some good role guys, and some of our walk-ons. So it was kind of difficult when you got guys out there every day, not just summer, all spring, all winter, been with you a year or 2. So we've gotten a lot deeper now in recruiting. We've gotten deeper just in program depth and our walk-ons. So we'll probably be 125 strong when school reports. But right now, 105. That's just by NCAA rule. Right now, we've got 105 guys here. They're all healthy. There is actually a loophole where if a guy, say, was coming off of surgery and couldn't practice, he could actually be here for 2 days for medical purposes. Couldn't really be in your meetings. You couldn't coach him. You couldn't have him watch practice, but you could rehab him and have another practice player take his spot. We have no one in that capacity as we're starting right now. So we've got 105 guys here, all we're kind of ready to roll. And again, I want to recognize a few guys not here. We did put out, and again, it didn't make the wire, some things. But Chris Smith, a freshman, came in first of summer, right when summer started, said he wanted to maybe get a little closer to home. We talked about it, and that's what he felt was best. Leaves in good standings. As a freshman guy, he encouraged to stay, but wanted to move on. And then one of our recruits came up a little short just with the academic side, and just going to have to look at an alternative route, probably JC with Jermaine Conyers. So I know you guys saw it this morning. I want to talk about the staff updates with the guys and some guys we got working with us. A lot of those in support roles. Number one, we made a few changes last year with a couple, a little bit more of the profile positions. Very confident and comfortable with the way those guys are working together, working with them, recruiting through spring, through winter. So I really like the full-time kind of big deals that happened last year as we moved Coach Pat in offense and brought in some defensive guys. Casey Teagarden, I don't know if it made the radar for you guys. This guy was working up at Valpo. Got some ties in our state. Was a full-time coach up there. Is coming in as a GA. Takes Chris Shula's place. Chris took a job at John Carroll as D coordinator there. Matter of fact, his grandfather played at John Carroll years ago. Matter of fact, it's actually Shula Stadium, so he's calling some defensive calls there in that one. So Casey's coming in. Got a lot of time. In fact, I think his, I want to say fiance, I could be I don't want to mislead. I know his significant girl is actually one of our high school coaches in the state. The head coach has been Davis, his daughter. So it's kind of a coaching family. So like Casey, we're bringing in Brian LePack Ryan Stanchek, our GA, that was awesome. Great player, but I think a great young coach. Got a chance to go full-time at Alcorn State. Kind of what I did starting out with my deal. You've done your GA time, you're looking for a full-time gig, you want it. You got a great opportunity down there. We're bringing in Brian. Brian played for us at Oklahoma. He actually just finished and took the bar exam on Wednesday this past week. Now he's figured out that he'd rather be a coach than a lawyer, and I don't blame him. He won't make as much money, but he'll have a lot more fun. And so he'll be working with us. Played for us in Oklahoma, was a walk-on. Actually, I think he started his career, I think it was offered TCU, Tulsa, and Colorado State. I recruited him. And he went to Colorado State, didn't like it, transferred in, walked on, earned a scholarship, and played for Coach Pat. So we'll have a good, even though it's a new deal, a guy that knows our system, knows how we coach, likes our language. So we got Brian LePack as our offensive GA. Ryan McInerney has been with us in the fall, a TCU guy, working defensive, off-the-field help and recruiting. And officially, starting in July, we hired Courtney Messingham, who was the offensive coordinator the last couple of years at Iowa State. So an older guy, a veteran guy, with the transition there, was in between jobs. And so Courtney will be an off-the-field guy, helping with the offense, helping recruiting, and what he does there. In our recruiting world, we had Jeff Sims that been here, came back to lead our position in the recruiting world. Linwood Ferguson had been doing some recruiting for us, went back to the high school ranks, and very excited about the guy we brought in, Cody Rager. Cody comes in 2 years with the Dolphins as a scout, 1 year in-house, 1 year on the road. He's won every college in the Pac-12 last year in the Western states, the Mountain West, the Eval guys, got a great eye for talent. Prior to that, had 3 years down in Alabama, and they're the first really school in the recruiting world that kind of came up with the personnel department of guys to really, how to contact and eval guys. So really excited with Jeff and with Cody. And then lastly, in one of our support positions, that is a good one, is that Coach Mark Deal, who's been here forever, does a lot with our guys behind the scenes, is going to continue to keep doing some things, but is actually getting forward a little bit into some administrative roles with some support for football and some ticket sales and marketing and some other things, working with alumni and still with our coaches. So we hired a guy to kind of complement and handle our academic side, our player welfare side when we're off the field, and that guy's name is Mike Paycheck, who the last couple of years has been at Bowling Green. Before that, played at Mount Union and whatnot in Ohio. So just some updates on those guys and what's going on. As we said, ready for preseason. I think, again, we were very comfortable with winter. Like what we saw last year with our spring ball and practices. Let's talk a little bit about summer. Talking whether you had a chance to talk to Mark Hill, if you hadn't, you ought to. You talk with our players. As coaches, the new rules allowed us to be at workouts when we chose to be. We still had some summer vacation time, and there's certain things we have player practices, and the kids start throwing balls, we can't be there. But you could go into the weight room, or you could watch your team run, you could watch it work out. You could see a guy coming off an injury, engage, he's moving well in shape. You can see a guy maybe struggling coming off injury. So, I say this without hesitation because I had a chance to see not every workout, but a lot. It's been our best summer. It's not even close. And more than anything, because we're more mature, we're more talented, and we're just a tighter, better team. I think each year we've gotten stronger in what we're doing, and that being said, we've been able to attack it. And I think that'll lead into preseason because we're at a different point in preseason as we start. Conditioning, I know we talked a lot about getting stronger in the winter. The summer gets a lot more into the running. We made a lot of strength gains in the winter. Now that it's summertime, it was a lot more into running. Our running work compared to where we started year 1, year 2, if you ask Coach Hill, would tell you basically he could double the workout and our kids could handle the load. So we go down to the far end and we run the hill. What we could do year 1 and year 2, the first time they did 30 of those hills. There's no way first couple of years we could run that many. We have a thing called a tempo run, where in tempo offenses and defenses, you got to run, quick recovery, run, quick recovery, run, quick recovery. We ran 32 60s one day. There's no way year 1 or 2 that team would have had the stamina or the mental maturity or the physical capabilities of that. So that's just a part of your program when you're making gains. You're making physical gains in strength, you're making them in conditioning, you're making them mentally. So a lot farther along there. In the weight room, just to show the gains we made, we now have 15 400-pound bench pressers. That wasn't, I want to say where we started. We had 8 in the offensive line right now. Led by Nate Hoff, a defensive lineman at 495. Jason Spriggs at 455. A guy like Tevin Coleman benches 405, cleans 365. That's why not only does he have speed, he has a physical presence. Now, I think hopefully even be a stronger, more complete back. Nick Mangieri and Darius Latham gaining plus 40s and 55 in their benches over the summer. Shane Wynn, his best, and David Cooper, not close as seniors that you want to see. Nate Sudfeld, significant gains in his upper body strength that you want. And to show where we started in 6.5 weeks, our freshmen reported in day 2 did a bench press of 225. 6.5 weeks later, they improved as a group by 63 reps in 6.5 weeks. Some of those guys going, a guy like T-Gray Scales goes from 22 to 24. 24 is a lot for a high school kid. Or Wes Martin goes from 26 to 29. Pretty good for a high school guy. But then you got guys like Corey Kill that did 2 and did 8 6 weeks later. That's a great jump for a young receiver. Ja'Shawn Harris showing up at 160 pounds, but reps 225 10 times. It's not bad for a small receiver. It's a strength. So again, a lot of gains in the weight room, a lot of that. Again, with the new rules, I had a chance to see what's going on, so you know who's ready. We didn't have a chance to participate in practice with them, but we were allowed several opportunities of 30-minute. We did it 2 times a week, 30 minutes. You're allowed 2 hours of meeting time. We only used an hour to meet with the guys on installation. So now you're freshmen. Today's not the first day of practice. Today's the first day we get to wear helmets. And the first day when the ball is out there, I can stand when he throws the ball. We couldn't do that. But other than that, we're showing up at a good mode. And the last thing I'll say before questions is I think we're just at a different point going into this last preparation time. Winter, spring, summer, now preseason, where I just think preseason's at a different point. We're going to have to be tough. We're going to have to stay healthy. We've got to get our physicalness going as an O and a D, and we got a lot of strides we got to make. But the one thing we don't have to do starting out is who's in or who's out. You got a good group, you got a great deal of guys buying in what's going on, you're more talented. So now preseason is more about getting right more than trying to get the team right. The team's right, let's get them X and O and get maturity and get the young guys up to speed and all that. So it's a little different mindset because of the games. And as we start, quote, season 4, it's going to be a great challenge, great opportunity. We are really looking forward to preseason. And we'll go questions.
Everyone got to the start of the season. You seem really confident. Do you see this program as being much closer to where you want it to be together?
I want it to be better than it is. But I think more than anything, somebody said when you're doing this more, you see more constant. I like my guys. So when you like the team, it's easy to talk about it. You know, when you go to practice, there's a smile on your face, and you're going to go to work, it's going to be tough. But when those guys go out there and conquer summer every day like you do, they now have the physicalness and the capabilities. Let's go conquer 2-a-days, and now let's go out and start competing and try to see if we can get the wins we won't conquer the opponents on Saturday. So to me, as much as anything, I got a great feel for our players, starting with the old guys, whether it be a guy like Shane or Timmy Bennett, Coop, Bob Richardson, or those guys. And it's as talented a freshman group, and it's maybe the best group of kids collectively that the young class is. So a lot of returners, but a lot of young talent. To me, it's just, it's kind of ready to roll, but you're excited about the one nasty word, which I don't have to say is the potential and the capability. We're set up in a position where it's going to be a hard challenge, difficult schedule. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of success this year.
What you saw in the spring of any indication, you expected to be significant improvement on defense. Can you elaborate on that a bit? What did you see in the spring that led you to?
One, you just have so many young guys that can play that are back. So just I think once you play, it's easier to have a better off-season, better spring ball, especially when you didn't play well. So you got all those freshmen in the front 7, the linebackers and D-line that had to play. You got 10 guys back on D, a lot of guys. They had a lot of reps. We were a little thin with a couple minor injuries, with Antonio Allen not being full tilt, Mark Murphy not being full tilt. So you felt a little thin in a couple places. But with those guys back and the freshmen coming in, to me, you got a little bit more experience than we've ever had. But what we really got is we have more depth and the depth of competition. The offensive guys have been competing to see, I think we've got 7 or 8 guys that have started as O-linemen. We've had several quarterbacks fighting to get on the field, several running backs fighting to get on the field, several quality receivers that play well enough to earn the ball and get me the ball. We haven't had that on defense. It's been easier to get out there. So with so many guys back in competition, the challenge will be guys embracing the competition, embracing the battle. Young guys being mature enough to step into the fray and let's go play. And old guys not getting that little entitlement world like, hey, it's my time. Hey, you better come ready and keep getting better. So I'm just, saw it every day. I saw a team that had a bite and a bounce, but I think it's as much as anything, not schematics or schemes or anything we're doing coaching. I just think where the kids are, and we just recruited harder and tried to develop, and it's not close, but still what it ought to be. It's going to be better. I didn't say it's what we want. We got a long way to go to what we need to get to as a team, but it's moving.
You talked about Antonio, where is he now? I mean, it seemed like Coach Moore said, even though he missed the spring in terms of still kind of earning a spot with the one, just kind of where is he in your mind?
Well, I would think, again, to me, and I said this the other day to the team, so, I think Tevin Coleman is a higher rated player, where you would say, Nate Sudfeld now appears to be the guy. But when you're a team that hasn't significantly or continually won, all jobs are open. And that if someone says, I'm the guy, that's the wrong mindset. Because that, again, leads to me where you're not on point, you're not on edge, constantly improving and improving at your best. So, from a physical standpoint, Antonio's going to be fine. I would believe from a mental standpoint, but we're not going to anoint any player here, or you're in line and it's automatically your job. I told the team that a couple years ago, Tevin Coleman came in and basically beat out a very good player. A guy that set a bunch of records. I mean, he's on some list of all-time best in the school, has a great opportunity to make a pro team. It's one of the better organizations in pro football. And he did nothing wrong. I wouldn't mind if someone wanted to beat out Tevin Coleman. I'd be happy as could be with that because I think he's a great player. That means someone else is doing pretty good. So competition is what we want, and I think that is what Coach Noor is alluding to. that it'll be interesting to see. You'd like to think Antonio's going to have an awesome year, but it's going to be up to him. Physically, he's right. He's had 0 limitations through summer. He'll have 0 in preseason. Now it's time for him to go out and perform and do his job.
How do you see things changing at the tight end position, without Ted? Do you see that position being used any differently than the past?
Well, it's a good question. There's one, a quality player. I want to wish to all those guys. We got Mitch at the Colts, Ewald, Colts at the Broncos, we got Ewald out there with Cody, and Ted's with the Redskins. We got Hughes down with the Texans, and Stephen up with the Patriots. So one wish all of those guys the best because of them. And not to mention Adam McCloughan, Larry Black, and those guys still chasing their dreams. So we want all those guys to stay healthy and make those teams and make some money. And we get those Sunday updates from you guys that post how the Hoosiers did, because we forward all that to the recruits. So I want them all to be doing well and kicking some butt and making money. Ted, again, very talented passing game, became a very solid player in the blocking game. That's why he was drafted. There are several bodies that are physically every bit as capable as Ted. Jordan Fuchs, potentially maybe even a better receiver than Ted. Just a better skill set, really can run and really can catch the basketball background. But when you look at those guys, and you guys, I think by the end of the week or whenever you guys start getting to the practice opportunities, when you look at that group, you're going to see about 5 or 6 guys that stand there at 6'5", and they're all 250, and they're all very mobile. I think Danny Friend, Michael Cooper, who's doing very, very well, the transfer from Arizona, that came here a year ago, has been awesome. Those guys are a little bit more, Michael's pushing 255, 60. That's going to be a little bit more of your bigger body guy. And a guy we don't talk much about, Sean Damaska, another basketball player, 6'6", pushing 6'7". He came in at 215, now he's pushing 250. Those 4 guys are primarily the guys leading. One guy I don't talk about, Anthony Casaro, is probably our most limited guy through summer because he's coming off a foot break from last spring that has kind of got him where he's ready to practice. We're going to slow him back in because his summer, Antonio got everything this summer. Casaro's summer's been a little limited. He was second team last year, and right now, he might be out on the outside looking in. There's done nothing wrong except he has an injury. So I dislike the inexperience, but I like the talent and the bodies we're working with. And so there's always going to be a tight end, and if some of these guys are mature enough, maybe get us some more big sets from time to time for the run game and play action, short yardage situations.
Kevin, where do you see the kicking game in terms of placing the machines?
Very similar to the question we just answered there with tight end. With Mitch, to me, we have one of the more consistent football players I've been around. What you saw, you got every day. You got it in off season, in season, in the locker room, on the practice field. You got it on game day. Very, very. As recently, he's got. I think if he doesn't have every kicker record, I think he's got them all or most of them. Talent, but very, very consistent. We'll start our preseason camp with Aaron Del Grosso as the lead guy, and his leg is stronger than the leg that just walked out here. But will it be as consistent? So we have the ability as far as range, we have the ability with depth. We have Griffin Oates, who's a second-year walk-on player, kind of competing there. And then regarding Ben Rice, who's a freshman from Noblesville, has a very, very large leg. So we've got some competition, and we'll see. Again, I've always been impressed. Even a year ago, Aaron had the bigger leg a year ago, but Mitch was going to make every kick. And we'll see if he can handle that, because it's one thing in practice, it's one thing to go to the driving range, as Mr. Fisher likes to do. I grew up in a course that didn't have a driving range, so I just go to the first tee and tee it up and start playing. And you got to have a guy that when it's on the line, can he make it? I think Eric Toth and Nick Campos will be in great competition, but like those guys at punter. And Matt Dooley's been here going to year 4 snap. He'll be fine. Return game's going to be fine. With Shane and our offensive skill guys, some of the freshmen, if they get the mix, we're great returners in high school. So I think our return game will be okay. I think the key deal, Mitch Ewald, quality player. And we've got some talent for him. We have the player that he wants. We'll see how that evolves as we see. And as we go through this year and years to come, because that's 4 years of a quality player. It's hard to question.
Kevin, back to defense. What do you want or need to see out of this defense this year to be successful?
Well, again, it starts. I had a question a week ago or so about what person or a guy or whatever could impact it. To me, it's a collective group. So it's going to start with Coach Norwood and his coaches with the tone they set and what they accept. And just going through a minute ago, our first walkthrough, they are significantly louder than I've ever heard of defense since I've been here. And communication is what you need. You've got to get the call and get lined up. And again, a confident person is very, speaks up. My son's a high school freshman today, and I have another one first day in junior high. They'll probably walk in with their eyes down and real quiet. It's the first day in school, and they're a little unsure of things. When you're unsure as a player, you're quiet. A confident player speaks up. So again, it starts with those guys. And what, as much as anything, physically, we'll be a lot better. I don't know if we've been as fast as we played, but it's more to get the mindset, the attitude, the effort, and consistently doing it. A year ago, in the 5 games we won, and I could be wrong here, but I think if mathematically we gave up 106 or 107 yards a game rushing in the 5 games we won. It was well over 300 in the 7 games we lost. So there was good play. There's some performances last year defensively that I would take right now every day, and I'll go play anyone right now and we'll take our chances. If it's good enough, it is. I'll take it right now. But we did consistently do it from day to day, week to week. And when you're a very good player or a very good side of the ball, or a very good team, consistency's the deal. We just talked about it with the kicker. We're talking about it with what we got. The bowls are leaving out. So when you replace guys, you're looking for some consistency. And I think, again, that's what we're looking there. There's going to be enough talent to flash. Good programs and good teams. Every day in practice, every week, they're going to show up. We'll see if we can get that.
Kevin, the non-conference schedule, you mentioned the challenge you got in Green, there, Missouri. In an ideal world, is that too strong a challenge? Is that too tough a challenge, or do you like an SEC team?
We're like a what again?
Would you like an SEC? Is it too tough a non-conference schedule, or do you like playing an SEC team in the non-conference?
Well, and first of all, what it is, and sometimes they're done so far in advance, you have, and if you want to make changes, you've got significant dollars in buyouts and things like that. I'd like to really get as much as anything where we had 7 home tilts. And this would be my 4th year, but 3 of those years you're home 6. And I know when I was at Miami, Ohio, we'd have, in 11, we'd have 5 at home and 6 on the road. And once in a while we had 6. Most of the Big Ten schools will have 7. Some of them will have 8. We were last year 8 was awesome. I wish it was 7-5 last year and 7-5 this year, what you want. And I think it's what you want going forward. In this new mode, with going to 9 conference games, if we go to 9 conference games, 1 year you'll have 5 league games, and the next year 4. And on that year when you have 4, if you don't have all 3 of your non-conference games at home, you get into this. I think it's great for the restaurants, the hotels, our community. Home, those 8 games last year were economically, we made as much money as we had because there's more people coming to games, et cetera, So who we play is critical to me as much as a Big Ten school. I think you want to try to get the 7. And I know that's been our plan since we've been here. I think moving forward, we're really positioning ourselves to consistently be there. And it's not easy because there's not a lot of options. I know the administration is working as we communicate the things, what's your choices. You can plan out and say you want to play X team, and you didn't mention North Texas. Now, they were conference champions. You got 2 conference champion teams in Bowling Green and North Texas, and Missouri plays for a conference championship. When, right now, I had someone put something from me today, scheduling teams at 18 and 19. We've already scheduled people in 20 and 21. She's just 7, 8 years from now. So, a team could all of a sudden be on high peak, be on low peak. It is what it is. I'd like to be a little bit more of taking advantage of being at home, a home environment, staying in our place, not traveling. I think that's more critical than who we're playing. And at the same time, when you play in the Big Ten East, there's not going to be patsies. So you better get used to playing it. So you can say that gets you ready or it doesn't get you ready. At the end of the day, if you didn't want to play a hard schedule, you should have chose Indiana or the Big Ten East as recruits. So me, embrace the challenge, embrace the opportunity. Let's go back.
Kevin, what areas do you see make most progress this year?
Nate?
Yeah, Nate's on.
Well, I think as much as anything, coming from a year ago, I think understanding as well as he could play or the offense could play, how when we're talking about the things where you're short, you don't take that as a personal or a negative, but realize as well as you play, you're trying to be a better manager and minimize the negatives. And so as much as anything, our first meeting today was a very great quarterback in the quarterback position needs to have no dealings with outside opinion. Because whether it be you as a media, or family, parents, girlfriends, best friends, pals, high school coaches. You're not at every practice, you're not at every meeting, you don't know what's trying to go on, you don't know the workouts, whatever, da. And that comes from Bill Parcells' 10 Commandments. Commandment number 1, do not listen to outside opinion. So when we're sitting here talking to you, we're just trying to make you better. We recognize all the great things you've done. He made a comment, because last year, as he and the offense sometimes did some good things, we would try to push, hey, we want more. You're like, golly, I'm playing good. No, we're just pushing you to be the best you can. And I think he made a comment, I just think I understand that and I can handle that more, because at the end, you want me to be as good as I can be. And like I've said for a couple of years now, to be really good as a program here, we got to have a really dynamic play quarterback. He's played very well. I think he can be one of the better players in this league in college ball, but we need him taking care of that ball, getting his group in the end zone, and managing the team at a high level. And I think he's ready to do that. Anything else? All right, guys. Let's have a great year. Good to see y'all.